Millions of Canadians will ring in the new year at house parties and bars across the country tonight. Many of those celebrations will include a drink or a smoke, and police will be out in full force looking for impaired drivers. As the nation caps off the first full year of legalized pot, new numbers reveal the startling reality of just how many people drive after consuming cannabis. And as Jamie Maraucher reports, experts want the growing trend to stop.
Instead of celebrating the last day of 2019, friends and family of a Toronto college student killed by an alleged impaired driver mourned their death.
You just don't expect a 19-year-old to be losing their life in this way.
In Canada, the number of drivers testing positive for drugs now exceeds those who test positive for alcohol.
It is worrying. We don't like seeing these numbers.
According to a year-end study from the Canadian Automobile Association, pot may be playing a role. More than a quarter of Canada's youth have admitted to consuming cannabis and driving or getting into a car with someone who has.
I was in a car with a guy that was smoking weed while driving. So we were on the highway and he hit a bowl, and a truck was trying to make a lane change and they almost hit it.
But it's not just young people taking the risk. The latest numbers from the Traffic Injury Research Foundation found overall there's been a 112% increase in Canadians who admit to getting behind the wheel within 2 hours of using marijuana.
If your reaction time is impaired by cannabis, then not having enough time to react to those last-minute events could lead to a collision or even a fatality.
And while studies south of the border have linked legalization to an increase in deadly cannabis-related crashes, here the effects are being investigated.
It's still too early to tell whether the legalization of cannabis is making a difference in relation to impaired related incidents.
In Ontario, for example, the number of drug and alcohol impaired driving deaths fell compared to 2018. But the stats don't specify if marijuana played a role. While in Quebec, police reported a 54% increase in drivers who tested positive for pot.
I know from people that it does heavily impair your reaction time and your just cognitive ability.
Many hoping in 2020 this new troubling trend will go up in smoke. Jamie Maraucher, Global News, Toronto.